Welcome to the Bella Grind Podcast, a place and a space where we like to elevate the voices of Black women. We also like to say that it's go time. That means we go after our goals, we go after our dreams, and most importantly, we go after the money. Today, I have with me two very, very special people. I know I say that all the time, but all of the women that sit on my couch are really special to me, but these two are really, really special to me. They have a very special place in my heart. I have with me Tekmekia Gilchrist, who is the founder and the executive director of Teal20s. And then I also have with me Yoshana Hill, who is the founder and the executive director of GendHer. Now, both of these ladies have a very important cause that they are going to talk about today. And I'm hoping that you walk away from this interview with an understanding for why service is important. Now, y'all see us. You see the red. You cannot miss the red. I told you all month we are celebrating the illustrious sorority of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So these ladies are on the shield with me, and that's why we are decked out today in our red. And we're going to talk about how Delta really influences the work that we do with service. So without further ado, are you all ready to jump in?
Yes.
They started off a little nervous, but we're going to go ahead and get into this interview and watch how they open up. So I wanted to interview the two of you together because I think that what you are doing with your respective organizations are phenomenal, right? And both of your organizations target women between a certain age range, and specifically Black women and girls. And so that's why I wanted to talk with the two of you together. And I want to start off with taking the time for each of you to sort of share the genesis for your organizations. And I'll start with you, Tekmekia. Talk with me about how Teal20s started.
Okay, so Teal20s is an organization that we support and mentor girls, or not really girls, but ladies between the ages of 20 and 29. I know you all like 20 and 29, but if you remember during that age group or age range, that's where we needed the most, I guess, the most support.
Yes.
Everybody thought when you were, you're grown and you got it together. No, that age group is the group that is kind of like the forgotten age group.
Yeah.
So being around ladies those age, I have two daughters, one that's 21 and one that's 24, and all of their friends. So just listening to the things that they're struggling with, God put it in my spirit that this is who you need to work with. This is your purpose in life. And it took me a minute to figure out what my purpose was. So now I know is to mentor and work with girls, women ages 20 to 29.
Awesome. And then Yoshana, so yours is sort of similar. Tell us about GendHer. What is the genesis for GendHer?
It's similar to that, with working with girls who are within a certain age group. Mm-hmm. So GendHer is a nonprofit organization committed to mentoring high school girls interested in law and advocacy. So I am a former high school teacher. I taught primarily ninth graders. And so with that particular age group, they are not little kids anymore, but they are on their way to adulthood. Mm-hmm. So I just saw a need with mentoring some of the girls around advocacy and speaking up for themselves and being able to, what I like to say, take up space. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of girls are taught to be quiet and to be meek and to ask permission. So with GendHer, we are teaching girls how to not ask for permission, but ask for forgiveness and to take up space and to have their seat at the table. Mm-hmm. So that when they are adults and go on to whatever their careers are, they're able to handle whatever the demands are. So even though it's focused primarily on law and advocacy can be in education, advocacy can be in healthcare, advocacy can be in any industry. Mm-hmm. So it's really open to all girls in high school that want to learn how to use their voice. So that's really the genesis, just based off of what I've seen as a former educator.
Yeah. So what would you two say then is the biggest challenge that our young girls and then our young women are facing right now? What would you say the biggest challenge is?
I guess for me, when talking with these young ladies, is self-image. That's a big struggle that the girls are going through because they see all this stuff on social media. They try to determine, do I need to be like this or that? So right now it's self-image is what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Yoshana?
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. It is around self-image, especially with the advent of social media and especially high school girls trying to figure out where their place is within society. And so it's not really cool to be smart or to speak up. So
Mhm.
I think we're trying to change that stigma around girls having that type of voice, especially girls in communities of color.
And so, and I have my notes here. So if you see me looking down, because I had some really good questions for these women that I had to make sure I get it all in. And so the next one then is, now that we know what those challenges are, right? And how they have to navigate every day in the world. Have you been, in working with the girls that you work with, have you been able to determine like what the burden is that they have to carry every day? Like you said, self-image, right? What do you think are some of the burdens that they're carrying every day as they're out here navigating in the world that we need to then pay attention to and address?
Wow. So the girls that I'm working with right now, the young ladies, they're so enthusiastic. They're very open to discussion. They're open. They're a little bit brutally honest.
Yeah.
But I like that. So the struggles, you know, some of them are single mothers. So they're dealing with that. Just getting into their careers and trying to find themselves in their careers. I have some that are in college, about to finish college, and what's next. So it's not just one burden that they're carrying. They're carrying so many burdens. And I believe when we were in our 20s, you know, we didn't carry as many burdens as I'm seeing them carry right now. So I can't narrow it down to just one. It's a lot of things that these ladies are carrying.
What do you think, Yoshana, with the younger girls?
Yes. So with the younger girls, especially during the pandemic and being in the time of COVID-19, they are trying to figure out how to navigate friendships, especially with us not knowing the state of the world and being in the lockdown for a year and a half. So that's just one thing that I'm seeing, the mental health aspect of it. So making sure that we are supporting girls in their needs for mental health and establishing healthy relationships with other girls. And then also talking about realistically, possible romantic relationships and what does that look like? Because GendHer is a mentoring program. So kind of mentoring them around that as well, just healthy relationships, period.
Yeah. I love the way she spells GendHer. It's spelled GendH, capital H-E-R. So it's really about GendHer, like gender, but it's really about her or the female. So I love that. I do love that. So when you all think about what this work means to you, what is it? Like, why is this so important to you? Why do you need to give young girls a voice as early as 9th grade, you know, and then help them to understand the political process? And then the same for you, how to just get out here and navigate in the world and to how to present yourself socially. Why is that important to the two of you?
It's important to me because I guess I was that kid that was always told to be quiet, you know, sit back, let other folks speak up. And so as I'm nurturing my inner child, it's very important for me to not pass those messages on to the girls that I'm mentoring and helping them to understand the political process and understand basic civics. Because just from my work with being an attorney in state government, a lot of folks do not understand the political process or how the sausage is made or how bills come to pass or the backroom conversations that happen.
Right.
And so part of this mentoring program is educating girls around the political process and what happens if there is a bill that you don't like. How can you speak up against that bill or for a bill that you may be in favor of? So I just want folks to understand, girls to understand how to navigate this particular world in which sometimes we're just shut out. Women, period, but specifically women of color.
Often ignored. That's good. What about for you? Why is it important for you to really give the support that you want to give to women 20 to 29?
Well, the biggest thing is that because a lot of the women or young ladies are struggling, you know, just making sure that they don't have to struggle, I guess, if that makes any sense. There are many resources, you know, us in particular, that they can lean on to not have to go through, you know, anything that we've gone through, that we can kind of explain or tell them, hey, there's a different way. We've had 2 meetings, and the first meeting was more about needs assessment. You know, what things are you ladies looking for? What are you wanting out of this program? And from there, that's how I vamped my courses, or not necessarily courses, but meetings each week, each month. So this past month was in December, we talked about budget. And I was like, okay, they have no clue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have no clue. So, talking with the girls on budgeting and finance and saving and all of that, that was a big eye opener for them. So we have a challenge right now. So next month, hopefully they met the challenge. So each girl was supposed to open a savings account if they didn't already have one, with $100. And then any item that they spend their money on every month, like my daughter, Starbucks every day. So the money that you would have put in Starbucks, you have to put that in your savings.
Oh, I love
So
that.
that's one of the, because they all talked about not being able to budget or save money.
that.
So, so it's important for me to make sure that I am giving them the things that they need.
Yeah.
And they're telling me, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. And I want to make sure that I'm doing that.
And I think that's
you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's really important
Yeah.
because you are changing a generation. This is a generational shift. So I love that about the financial planning.
That part, because I needed you when I was, well, I had you, but this is my line sister. Like, I'm just go ahead and put it out there. But yeah, we needed Tekmekia, right? Who can show us that part? Because I know when I jumped out there at 20, I just had to figure that thing out. And many of us, when we think about our money story, right, we typically mimic what it is that we saw our parents do. So however your parents or your caregivers, however they manage money, that's typically how you manage money. Right. And I can't say that that's always the best model, especially in our community, the Black community, because of other factors. Like we could go down a rabbit hole talking about how Black families are impacted. And so why they have to manage money the way that they do, at least in my case with a single mom. But it would have been very helpful for me to have a model. So it's good that you're starting with that group. And then I hope they pass it on.
Yes.
Like to your point, that really is legacy building because their children will see something different. So with that being said, what's the message for your brand? What message does your brand send?
So let me go back a little bit. Teal stands for talented, empowered, aspiring ladies.
Yes.
So that's the whole premise of Teal. And so I just have a passion for that age group, 20 to 29, the forgotten age group. And I just want everyone to know that, for the age group, to know that there is support, there is help. Yep. And that you don't have to go through this alone.
I like
Right.
that.
I love
Yes,
that.
look.
Yes, I'm
We
going to pass
love that.
my mentees on to you.
Okay.
We'll keep
Yes.
it rolling.
Oh, I like that. A pipeline.
Yes,
They
a
leave you and then
pipeline.
come over
That's
to
right.
Tekmekia. I love that.
Absolutely.
What about for you?
For me,
What does your brand say? What is
Yes.
the message of GendHer?
the brand, the message of GendHer is taking a seat at the table, the
Yeah.
decision-making table,
Yeah.
or I'm going to build my own table.
Ooh.
So that's the
like
message for GendHer, because I want to really empower girls to be able to have a voice and to use their voice and to think about ways to advocate for their community. So it's about training girls so that they can then go and train others, so that they can then be advocates for themselves and teach others how to be advocates for themselves. So it's all about the training pipeline.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. The
Yes.
pipeline. So how has Delta influenced this work? Because we are all on the shield. Again, y'all see it.
Yes.
You see
Yes.
it. But how has Delta influenced, the part of you that are servant leaders? Because I know I have to be honest, it has a heavy influence on the way that I move and why I serve. What about for you ladies?
So I will start by sharing just a little bit about my dissertation. So I recently completed my PhD in political science. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This past spring at Georgia State University. And so without boring you all with all the details about the dissertation, generally I study ambition. Ambition is simply whether a person has considered running for a political office. And so I studied judicial ambition, which is the likelihood that a person has considered running for a judicial office. So there are different factors that influence that. And one of the factors that I studied was sorority membership. So potential candidates who are members of Black sororities are more likely than any other candidates to express ambition. So there's something special about the Black sorority. We know that the Black sorority is different from other sororities in that we are politically minded.
Yeah.
You can look at Delta, for example, with our first public act taking place within a few months of being founded.
Yes.
And so with the Black sorority, it is expected to be civic minded, to be activists, to be aware of what's going on in our political environment.
Right.
So I said that to say that the sorority has definitely prepared me for this particular leadership role, because we can tap into the different members of our sorority who are elected officials, such as Mayor Keisha Lynn Bottoms and all the other wonderful women who are part of our sororities, but also other sororities. So we'll give them a little shout out, the other Black sororities. So just being a member of Delta Sigma Theta, it is expected to be civic minded. And so this kind of helped groom me, because I am expected to participate in politics and to vote and to do everything of that sort. So I think it's just a training ground for being civic minded and being political leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said too. What about for you, Mika?
And just to kind of piggyback on what you just stated, I think we were trained for this.
Yes.
You know, Delta Sigma Theta trained us to be leaders, and also to give back to our community. So since, you know, undergrad and now alumni chapters, we're constantly giving back to our communities. And so service has always played a big part, you know, in everything that I try to do. So, so to answer your question, I think it was more the training. You know, we were trained to do this. You know, we have to do this.
Right.
The poster children for service, sisterhood, and leadership. You need to know what it looks like. Here it is, right here. So I love that. Both of those were excellent answers. I'm getting ready to take you now through a fast round. Okay. And the way the fast round works is I'll say usually a question or a phrase. You have to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind, and then you have to tell me why. Okay. So are you ready?
Perhaps. Yes.
Perhaps. Okay. Since we're talking about sisterhood, in our illustrious sorority, which is largely made up of Black women. When I say the statement, Black women are, finish it. So Black women are, Tamika?
Victorious.
Ooh, tell me more.
Because anything that Black women set their minds to do, they're always overcoming obstacles that are unheard of sometimes. So victorious.
That part.
Yes.
Yoshana?
I would say Black women are resilient. The foundation of the home, the foundation of society. We are innovators. We are individuals who can overcome challenges. So resiliency is what I think of when I think about Black. You said Black women?
Black women.
Black
yes,
women.
ma'am.
Yes, Black women.
Okay. When you think about the girls that you serve, would you teach fight the power or keep the peace?
You're asking Deltas?
Fight the That part. You're asking Deltas if we will fight the power or keep the peace. Yeah, I did.
I would say keep the peace.
We're both like,
I would say keep the peace. You know, just because of that age group of 20 to 29, you know, being able to keep the peace healthily, if that even is a word, but just making sure that, you know, they understand how to keep the peace.
Okay.
You know, keep the peace is not all about you know, fighting, rioting, and those different things, but, you know, just being able to express yourself, you know, in a peaceful way.
Yeah, but without you don't have to diminish who you are,
exactly,
or dim your light.
Exactly.
But it sounds like you're saying that there is a way
to keep the peace.
Yeah, to I guess use your voice in a peaceful way. Okay,
absolutely.
That was a nice little spin. I think Yoshana and I
like it.
I do too. I think Yoshana and I were in the same boat. Like I think I know what your answer is. What is yours? Fight the power or keep the peace?
Fight the power in order to keep the peace.
Ooh,
so I'm all about laws. And if we can change laws, so fighting the existing structure, if the laws need to be changed, then we can keep the peace. So using laws to change the negative aspects of society.
Can y'all tell that she's a lawyer?
Absolutely.
See how she took that and brought that thing together? Yes, that part, what you said. Who is your greatest inspiration? Who inspires you?
I would say my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I will say my mom is my greatest inspiration. So she's from a small town in South Georgia, right on the Georgia-Florida line. And she always taught me to think outside the box, have my own. My sister and I have an older sister. She always instilled within us to have our own financially. Like that was a really big thing for her, and to get an education. It wasn't if we were going to college, it was when we're going to college and we had to finish. There was no, well, I'm not going to finish or take a semester off. Although I do recognize people are in different situations. Right. But my mom is definitely my biggest inspiration. So I love her. Hi, Mom. If you're watching.
Shout out, Mom.
Shout out to Mom.
That's awesome. What about for you, Tekmekia?
Oh, wow. I'm still trying to think. But to be totally honest, I think my biggest inspiration are my adult children, my 21 and 24-year-old girls.
Those are my babies.
Diane and Tiara. So they do inspire me, to do the work that I'm doing. They've always inspired me to be the best mom, to be the best wife, to be the best person. So I would say my 2 adult children are my inspiration.
Let's see, both of those touch my heart. Your mom and your children. I love that part because those are people that are like really, really close to you. You all didn't have to go outside of, your family for inspiration. So that's awesome. So tell us where we can find you, number one, on social media. And then how can our listeners, the listeners are the bells and the bows. Okay. The ladies are the bells. The gentlemen are the bows. BEAU, gentlemen. I have to make sure I say that, not the bows for, but where can they find you? And then how could they support each of your respective organizations?
Well, you can find GendHer on Instagram at GendHer Inc. So GendHerinc. That's the best way to find us. You can definitely financially support the organization. We are a small, burgeoning nonprofit organization, and we are trying to build quality programming for our girls. So taking them on field trips, bringing in great speakers, making sure that while they're in our educational sessions, they have everything that they need. Yes. So financial support will be great.
All right. And for Teal20s, you can find us on Instagram as well. We are TEAL.20s, Teal20s on Instagram. As far as support, definitely guest speakers. We are definitely looking for the experts because I don't have all the answers to some of the things that the ladies are asking for. So definitely, support with guest speakers. Anybody wanting to come in and have conversations with the girls. And then any financial support, I guess, as well, because eventually we're going to grow. I see it, where we want to have a Teal20s conference for ladies ages 20 to 29 to come. So, yes.
And I see that conference happening sooner rather than later. So, and you can always reach out to me as well if you would like to link with either of these phenomenal women. And I will certainly put you in touch with them so that you can further support their causes. You all are so very necessary. And I hope you understand that, that you are so necessary for our community. I pray that you continue to shine, that God touches the work that you all are doing with these women. I am plugged into both of these organizations, so I'm really about it. I'm not just talking about it on this couch, but I'm really being about it. And I hope that you all will join us in both of these efforts because I just see the legacy that will come out of it. This really is legacy work. Thank you so much for coming to grace the couch.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting
us. Keep shining. Know that I love you with everything in my heart. And I'm just proud of you all.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And see, it wasn't that bad. You all were nervous and we've gotten to the end. See? You survived. I told you it wasn't going to be bad. Well, with that, we've come to the conclusion. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. And remember, act like a lady, think like a boss, and stay on your beautiful grind. Peace.